Hello gorgeous ones, Dr. Lucy here. Sorry, I am running a few minutes late, not because I haven't been in the kitchen. I've been doing a little prep for tonight's dinner, which is not my usual style. But as you know, I have to try and come up with something different every Tuesday, which for somebody who has a recipe collection of about 9 recipes, it's getting a bit tricky. Anyway, I have come up with a goodie. And basically tonight I'm cooking fathead dough pizza with a slight twist, of course. So what I've actually done, I preheated the cheeses. So for those of you, I'm sure lots of you know about fathead dough. It's been around for a long time. It's certainly not my recipe by any stretch, but I'll show you a really quick and easy way to do it. So you can do this in the microwave. I do it on the stove. If you're gonna do it on the stove, the key is don't let it brown. Otherwise, you know, like it's, so it's basically the recipe for the cheeses. It's simple. It's 2 cheeses, some almond meal, and an egg. Blah, 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 pizza. So the cheeses are just mozzarella and cream cheese. So the cream cheese, now if you have a look, so many, hello Veronica, so many places have like 2 tablespoons of cream cheese. And I'm thinking, mate, it comes in a block. Like, what is that all about? So anyway, I've weighed it. It's 80 grams. 3 ounces if you're in the States, 80 grams if you're in Australia or anybody that uses grams. 80 grams of cream cheese, and then of course, you know, 2 cups of mozzarella. And my brain, I'm going, well, what is that, kind of just lightly packed? Is it densely packed? What if I've shredded it myself and it's quite fine? So I weighed it again. Yes, Tassie Katrina, it's a bit chilly up here too. So it's about 210, 220 grams of mozzarella, shredded however you like. So then you bang all of that into this saucepan or the microwave, and look how it comes out, just like a white blob. It's quite pliable. And the key, there's one little key, and that is to try and work a little bit quickly, because it's good to do it while it's warm. So then you get, now I've got almond meal, and they're quite different. So this is Coles almond meal, which if you have a look at the camera, it's quite white. It's actually what is often referred to as almond flour. It's quite fine, it's blanched, it's not brown, it just looks like white stuff. So I'm gonna use that, but I'm also going to show you the difference with almond meal. So it's 1.5 cups, thereabouts. Just happens to be almost what I've got left. And then, so you can see that's pretty white, right? And then the almond meal, I'll see if I can get that out for you. Should have put it in a clear cup. Can you see that? It's quite brown because it's got the husks, whatever the skins of the almond in. I'm just going to put a little bit in. And then, magic ingredient, psyllium husks. What the psyllium does is it just makes it a little more bready. It gives it a slight bit of oomph. Now, like everything with this, you don't need a lot. So it's about a teaspoon, a heaped teaspoon. This is a little teaspoon, so I'll probably put in a bit more. There you go. So about 2 teaspoons, give or take. Okay, so you put them in first because the cheese is on the bottom. Then, simples, you crack an egg, bang that in. Get rid of that. And then you just mush this up. And it just magically turns into dough. And I'm doing it in a clear bowl. I normally would just do it in the saucepan that I've cooked it in, because, you know, then I don't have to clean 2 bowls. But I wanted to be able to show you how you can do it. So I'm using a spoon. I will actually be kneading it, not because it needs kneading. So if you're a bread maker, I have never been a bread maker, but I did do home ec in year 10. The reason that you knead the dough with normal flour is to activate the sort of gluten. And gluten's job is to make the bread sort of bready, I suppose, is what it is, which is why gluten-free flour is sometimes a bit hit and miss. All right, so basically I'm just going to mix all this up in as much as I can. And then the idea will be to pop it onto my bowl, which I'll be able to do here, onto my little thingy. And then I'm just going to knead away. Kneading needlessly. How is everybody? Anyway, it's cold. We've had a cold snap here down south. Melbourne is cold. I just saw that Tassie is cold. But I was talking to a lovely girl this morning from Townsville. I'm there in my hoodie. She's there in her singlet. So it is definitely, you know, it is a big country, isn't it? It can be boiling at one end and hot at the other. So I just got the last bit of the stuff out of that jar, and then basically I'm just going to do a little bit of kneading to get it all mixed in together. Now if your dough is too sticky, which this isn't, you can add a little bit more almond flour in it, and it just getting all those little bits that like to try and escape. And then this is it. So the kneading is not, as I said, not to activate anything, just to make sure it's all mixed. And it's much easier to do while it's warm. Now, if it gets hot, if your bread gets cold and becomes a bit hard, I've seen people do this, they microwave it, thinking I'll just soften it up again. But because it's got egg in it, now it'll cook it and turn it into one giant lump of concrete. So you just have to work it with your hands to warm it up a bit. Freezing in Yarrawonga, that's no good, Joe. I mean, it's sort of, what month are we in? I mean, how down in Melbourne, it was so hot on the weekend. So Easter Sunday, it was like 28 degrees. It was unheard of. So, all right, so here we go. So this is my beautiful looking piece of fathead dough. Now, this is it. You can see it's pretty white. This is the same dough, but made entirely with the almond meal. Okay, so you can see it's brown. So it's a bit like the wholemeal versus the white loaf. So it's again, it's really soft. It's not hot, but it's easy to work with. So what we're gonna do is I'm gonna chop it in half. So this makes 2 pizzas. You could probably make 3 if you wanted to. You could make 1 fat one if you wanted to, but I tend to make 2. And look at me being all posh, chopping it with a knife. So, now the key to fathead dough, did I bring out my, what did I do with my, left my brown paper over there. I'll just grab it, hang on. So, you can't put the dough straight onto a pizza tray. You have to have some brown paper on it, or especially if you've got a pizza tray with holes in it, it'll all just melt through. So here we go. I've just got this beautiful lump of dough like that, and I just give it a bit of a smack around, and then I like to put another piece on top. And then you can use a rolling pin, or honestly, you can actually just use your hands like a rolling pin if you wanted to. It's much easier to roll out than the normal dough. And then the key, there's a couple of keys to your cooking of this dough to make it reasonable. Gosh, it's quite amazing. I only put a tiny little bit of that the brownie almond meal in it. It's really flecked quite the way through, which is interesting. Again, I kind of figure it's a bit rustic. Hello, Grace. How are you, darling? Good to see you on Insta. It's funny, isn't it? Sometimes people drop in and have a little watch, and I can see sometimes people, and I can't see at the top. Facebook, you poor lovelies, you've just got a picture of my chin, because again, it all depends on how I do it. You do it in your Thermomix, Joe. It's interesting. I have a Thermomix. You can certainly do it in your Thermi. My problem is that the cheesy bit gets stuck all over the blades, and I just hate cleaning it. It's same with cauliflower. If I make a cauliflower mash, I hate putting the cheese through it. So look, I mean, how good's that, right? So that's it. And that's your pizza. And you bang that on a tray. Like that. Now, Couple of things that you need to do. So I've got my fork here somewhere. Prick it with a fork, prick it and pat it, mark it with B. Isn't that an instrument of some sort? I don't have a fork, so I'm just going to use this. Okay, that'll go in the oven. And then, takes about 10 minutes. But here's one I prepared earlier. And that's what it looks like on top. And then you flip that. And that's what you actually put your pizza on. This is quite a bready one. So this is, as I said, it's got the psyllium in it. It's quite robust. So easy. So then so about 10 minutes, if that. 10 minutes probably. And then I've got that. Then I just put it, then I'm just going to make pizza like I normally would. Now, I've got another little tip for you. That was the knife. Nowhere near my foot, of course, but still. This stuff, tomato paste. So this is just a plain tomato paste. It's got no sugar in it, nothing, a bit of salt. It's just really concentrated tomatoes. I'm just going to leave the knife on the floor. And grab a spoon out. If your tomato paste goes mouldy quickly, like lots of people's do, you can store it in the fridge upside down. That seems to be the great unmoulding, because that, I reckon, how many times have you all done that? You've gone to get your tomato paste out and discovered that it's completely mouldy, which is not at all nice. So yeah, I just put in a bit of that. Now I've got some herby things somewhere, I think. Oh, I haven't actually got any herby things. I don't know what I do with them, but that's all right. I like to put some spinach leaves on my pizza, and the key to stop them frying like a crisp is you put them on the bottom. So these are just some baby spinach on the bottom there. Then I put whatever is next. So in this case, it's going to be some ham. I just happen to have it over here. You can chop it, you can just tear it on, you can do whatever you like. I think I might. Oh, I was going to chop it, but I threw my knife on the ground. So there we go, guess I'm doing a bit of this. Bit of tearing. So the pizzas are not something I normally would do maybe midweek, because they are a little, look, they're not dreadfully fiddly. I mean, really, it's only 6:15, so they're not super fiddly, but they're not as fast as my normal bang it in and get it done business. Okay, so I have got here some mushrooms. Look at this. Look at me go, having to chop my own mushrooms tonight. Oh, except again, I threw my knife on the floor. I will just get another one. Got to make sure I don't whack into that knife. So mushies are easy, so you can just chop them with any old knife. I happen to have a steak knife. So anyway, what's everyone been up to? I've started watching a new series. In fact, I finished it. It was called, now I forgot what it was called. Somebody will come up with the name for me. It had Renee Zellweger in it as a ruthless businesswoman-y kind of person. Might be called What If. Anyway, it's quite captivating. So watched that over a couple of nights. That was quite fun. And I've been looking through your suggestions from last week, so thank you for that. I had already watched quite a few of them, so we've obviously all got similar tastes. Now, you know my hatred of the oil that these come in. So as tasty as that flavoured oil is, it always just goes straight in the bin. So that's basically it. That'll do for my fancy pants pizza tonight. And I will put a bit of cheese on. Now I know, everyone goes, oh, haven't you grated your own cheese? Sometimes I do, and sometimes I don't. It doesn't have to be perfect. It's basically doing as much as we can with the best of what we can do. So midweek, I always have some of this in the fridge. It lasts forever and it does the job. So basically that's going to go back in the oven and it'll come out looking like a very fancy pizza, and that's it. So I've got this one that hasn't gone in yet, so that'll go in. Remember, pricking it, 10 minutes, flip it over, maybe a minute, and then toppings. That stops it all going really soggy in the middle. This one here is ready to go. And so what that means is that I've actually got two, because there's only my hubby and I home tonight. So these will go, I'll probably put these in the freezer, and then what I'll do is I'll just defrost them. Remember, you can't heat them, so don't defrost them in the microwave. If you're trying to do that, that's a bit dud, but you can just have them a bit later. If you want to, you can roll them out. I don't have enough room in my freezer for that, so I'll just store them like a little blob. Lovelies. What have I got to tell you tonight? I've got another couple of things. I did a podcast interview on Saturday with a man. He's like our fourth man on. I'm going to tell you when it comes up, because seriously, I was a bit teary in it. This guy, he's written a book, and it's called it's just called The Fat Ginger Nerd. His words, obviously, it's his book. And just a really, really beautiful story of a boy who grew up being bullied his whole life. Never grate my own cheese. Good, Lee. What you talking about? Yeah, what am I talking about, grating my own cheese? Anyway, he's written this book called, it's a story of a boy who grew up basically bullied because he had red hair, he was overweight, he wasn't chosen for any sporting teams, everyone was, no one liked him, he got bullied by kids at school and then shamed by health professionals. And so interesting that he had, look, classic story, like a lot of us as we've got older, insulin resistant. If you're insulin resistant, you are hungry. You're hungrier than somebody who is not. And the idea is that if you have extra hunger, that's somehow like a character flaw, like, you're just weak because you're hungry. And it's like hunger is a human need, and it gets mixed up all the time with greed. So he was just told so often, stop being so greedy. And this little boy was hungry. So anyway, it's a really, really good podcast. It's not coming out for a couple of weeks because we're a few weeks ahead, but please look out for it. And it just reminded me that this idea that hunger, you are allowed to honor your hunger. Like, don't deny your body food if you're hungry. That's restricting, and dieting is denying your body food if you're actually hungry. Now, as you and I know, physiological, so proper hunger, is a little different to psychological hunger, and for a lot of us, that's where we have trouble. So that we know, so many people will come and say to me, oh, well, I'm not eating because I'm hungry. I'm eating because it's yummy, or I'm eating because, it's just there. I'm eating because it's in the cupboard and it calls my name, or I'm eating because it makes me feel better after a bad day at work, or I'm eating because I'm on the couch and it's what I look forward to at the end of the day. All of those are different to psychological hunger, and to physical hunger, and that's where we come in. We can help. We can help you with both. Obviously, physical hunger gets a lot better when your insulin resistance improves, and you stop filling your plate with salad, like so many people, because they go, oh my God, well, I've got this giant bowl of salad. So they sit down and they eat it, and it's just not satisfying, and that's because it's got no protein. When you're hungry, eat something nourishing and nutrient dense, absolutely. Any tips for locking away Fluffy? Fluffy's escaped over Easter. Oh yes, Rebecca, I have a tip for you. So, I can't believe I didn't think of this earlier. So yes, of course, we've just had Easter. And for lots of us, Easter is a bit like Christmas, double-edged sword, full of just garbage, eggs and buns, basically. So some people have been able to go through without any problem, and hurrah. But for those of you who found that you indulged and now you've woken up Fluffy, he's awake now. He's sniffing around going, oh, what can I have to eat? What can I have to eat? What sweet stuff can I have to eat? Or what garbage, if you happen to be a chips savory person, what can I have to eat? That's what he's asking you all the time, all day. So you do not starve yourself because you've overeaten junk over Easter. It won't work. What will happen is that you'll then crash and you'll give in, and then you'll get the first thing because you'll be out of fuel, and it'll be an Easter egg because they're still here. So focus on a good meal, fat and protein. Okay, if you normally have 2, you might even have 3 meals. You found Easter harder than Christmas, Katrina. Interesting, isn't it? Interesting. And the thing to remember is that chocolate is always just about our thoughts. Easter eggs are just about our thoughts about it. So I saw this great meme, which was IKEA, and it had a block of chocolate and it was called flat packed Easter egg. So it's exactly right. Like, we have these ideas that Easter eggs are somehow magical, and they are. You know, they came with the bunny. Fluffy's going to F off according to Lee. So there is a lot of magical thinking about Easter eggs from childhood, deep in there. You know, they're fun. There was a hunt. It was all part of it all. I was talking to my friend this morning who was saying that her 6-year-old's totally into the magic of the Easter bunny. He doesn't actually really like chocolate that much. He just loves the idea that there's this Easter bunny that's arriving. My 18-year-old went camping and bought herself an Easter egg and put it out for herself. And she goes, and then Mum, I woke up Sunday morning and I surprised myself with an Easter egg. Ha ha ha. So there is this magical thinking that comes with Easter, and that's part of the allure of the eggs. But at the end of the day, they're just plain old chocolate that you can get every day, all year round, on special, whenever you want. So you are allowed to now, particularly if you live by yourself or you haven't got to deal with any family members, just chuck them out. Chuck them out. It's like, what, $3 or $4 worth, and knowing in your head that you can go and get 2 blocks of chocolate at any stage if you ever wanted to. The scarcity, sorry, I have some fly thing. The scarcity that comes from Easter, the scarcity of the buns, the scarcity of the eggs, is all part of marketing and just tapping into that magical thinking we have about this time of the year. But, so if Fluffy's awake in your house, put him back to sleep as fast as possible, because you might only have 1 or 2 heads awake now, but if you let him go on, 3 will wake up, and a 3-headed beast is really quite hard. So the way is to remove your temptations, get rid of them, chuck them out of your house, focus on good quality. So, you know, this is fun. Like, if your brain's going, oh, but I'm missing out, well, feed it some pizza. Here's some fun pizza. It's fun. And it's, you know, it's exciting, and it's not boring low carb, and you're not on a diet, and it's not restriction. So your deal is to make sure that you fill up fat and protein, fat and protein, fat and protein, lots of fat and protein, and then you'll be full. And then your brain's going to go, oh, can't eat anything else. And then after a while, if you then want to get back into your fasting, if you're a faster, do it then. Don't do it today or tomorrow. You really like that series. That's awesome, Margie. I know Harry Potter, I draw a lot of analogies from there because, again, it's all part of the magic. So that's really the way to put Fluffy back to sleep. Fat and protein, eat lots of it. Don't count calories, don't count meals, don't even count snacks. As long as it's fat and protein, to put him back to sleep, that's your first job. And then once he's asleep, then you can then work on sort of the next level of things. But if you've got kids, put the Easter eggs somewhere out of sight. Like, don't do like I did, where you just sort of open up the cupboard and there they are staring at you like golden jewels, okay? Because it's not going to help you. Okay, they're not golden jewels, they're just lumps of coal, lumps of brown fat and sugar. So it's great, you can't wait until tomorrow. What's on tomorrow? Is there more Harry Potter on tomorrow? Is that what you're talking about? Am I missing something, Nick? But yeah, so that's really what I would be saying. Just, and be kind with yourselves, and just recognize that the lure, the promise of the chocolate, it's a fast path to nowhere. Okay, it really is, because your brain goes, just have one, just have a little bit, just have some, come on. And you go, all right, I'll just have one. Well, that doesn't actually fix anything. It doesn't make you feel better. You don't suddenly go, oh, good one. Oh, well, that's good then. I'm done now. and carry on. You don't. You just go, oh God, now I want another one. Oh, bloody hell, now I want another one. Moon Knight, right, Moon Knight. Okay, series. I'm thinking, right, television series. Excellent, Moon Knight. I will look at that. So think about those things. Chocolate and no-cross buns are a fast track to nowhere. They're not going to serve you. You regifted the chocolates you were given Broadwood. That is a great idea, okay? A great idea. Regift them if throwing them out feels too hard. I'm pretty happy to throw them out these days. Don't waste your money buying me chocolates. Like any future patients who want to bring me chocolate at Christmas, don't bother, because unfortunately it goes in the bin. I would rather have tea, or I would rather have something that feels good. And what I mean by that is that if you can change it, because we think often of chocolate as a treat for yourself. Meanwhile, your body's going, no more, please, no. So your body doesn't think of it a treat at all. So I go, okay, what can I give myself that is going to be a treat, if you like, for both my brain and my body? And it always comes back to my very fancy cup of tea. Whole food, good, nourishing, nurturing, delicious, like not boring, delicious food, and a beautiful, fancy cup of tea. All right, my darlings, I'm going to go and finish these, and I'll take a picture, and I'll be enjoying pizza tonight. Have a wonderful, wonderful evening, and I will see you all soon. Please go and, I'll have to answer those questions before. When people click in a row, it all goes too fast. You got some dark chocolate, Karen. Yes, that's what I got. I got some Lindt chocolate, which, is, I don't need anything else. Like, I'm happy with that. I got a lovely thing of, I think I've told you guys, I sometimes will use cocoa husks, which are part of a tea collection with tea too. That tastes quite chocolatey. Here's something weird. They don't taste chocolatey. Actually, they smell more chocolatey than they taste. But anyway, you can do that too. Go and have a listen to our podcast. It's on meditation and hypno. If you like it, rank it, rate it, send us a little note. It really helps our podcast. We're trying to keep up in the top 10 or 20 in Australia or the world. So if you do like our podcast and you listen, please put some stars and write some nice words, and I'd be forever grateful. Bye, darlings.